Modules can be used to dynamically extend the capabilities of PowerShell. They can contain a number of things and come in different types to support that. We are interested in the script modules. Script modules are used to add commands dynamically to PowerShell. PowerShell looks in a set of folders for modules whenever you run a command. If you run a command it doesn't know how to do, it will try to find it in a module somewhere in its module path. To see the module path, you can enter a command to simply display the current value of the PS module path environment variable. In my case, there are 3 folders. There's the folder in Windows System 32, Windows PowerShell v1.0 modules. That's a legacy one. There's the program files, Windows PowerShell modules folder. And every user has a personal folder for modules in their Documents Windows PowerShell modules folder. By default, their Windows PowerShell folder doesn't exist. They have to create this in order to have their own. Once they do this, their modules will be available anywhere their home folder is available. To see the list of modules that are currently available to your PowerShell, we can use the commandlet get-module. The get-module commandlet has a few different options. We'll use it to simply display the available list of modules. This list can be kind of long, but it includes very interesting information. For each directory in your PS module path, it will list the type of module, the version number, the module name, and an abbreviated list of commands that are available from that module for your use. Script modules are interesting to us because all they are is PowerShell scripts that define functions. So we can create our own by creating module files that are scripts with functions in them. Then all of the commands for those functions become available to us anywhere that we can reach our modules. It allows us to create reusable tools. So let's get started making our first module. To make our first module, we need to have a Windows PowerShell modules folder in our home folder. That's easy enough to create. First, we need a Windows PowerShell folder. I should define a variable for my home because it's a little different from the typical home folder. Then I can use that to make the appropriate folders. I'll already have a Documents folder, but I won't have a Windows PowerShell folder. So I'll go ahead and make one. Now that I have a Windows PowerShell folder, I can go ahead and make a modules folder in that Windows PowerShell folder. Now that I have a modules folder, I can go ahead and create modules in there. When you create a module, you do have the option to create a module that contains multiple components. You can have different files associated with a module. You can have script files, binary files, manifest files, help files, all sorts of things. In order to have all those potential files in a module, each module has its own folder in the modules folder. The name of the module folder is the module name. So I'm going to go ahead and create a module called sisinfo funcs, because I'm going to create a few commands as functions to provide me some system information for which there are no existing commands to show me exactly what it is I want to retrieve. So since I want to call my module sisinfo funcs, that is the name of the folder that I'm going to make inside the modules folder. Now I need to put a module file in there. A module file is a PowerShell script file, but because we want it recognized as a module, instead of having the extension ps1, it's going to have the extension ps1. I'm going to create a file in a very simple way, just by creating a string of information to put in it and redirecting that to the file, because I'm too lazy to open a window to do it. I now have a sisinfofuncs.psm1 file that has one function definition in it for a function called get-byos. If I wanted to see what that looked like, I could go ahead and open up that file in ISE very simply from the command line by typing ISE and the file name, and it will open it. And I can go ahead and see that there's the text that I put in the file. It's a function. It is a fairly simple one. It uses getwmi object to pull out a Win32BIOS class, and it pipes it to a select object to list the properties that I want in the order that I want them. Pretty straightforward. Now that I've gone ahead and created a module file, to see how dynamic this is, let's go ahead and take another look at our get module listing. Our get module listing before showed us the modules in the Program Files Windows PowerShell Modules folder and the Windows System32 Windows PowerShell v1.0 modules folder. The third folder on my module path didn't exist, so there was nothing to show from it. Now that it exists and has a file in it, when we do our list available, we should see, in addition to the modules it already found in the folders it already looked in, it now finds things in my personal modules folder. It finds a script module called sisinfo funcs, and the only thing it can find in there is a command called getbyops, because that's the only thing I created in there. If I wanted to see more information about this getbyops command, I could use the commandlet get-command. Normally, that'll tell me about a specific commandlet that already exists. If I wanted to pull it from a specific module, I could give it the -module option, parameter, and put the name of the module, and it will give me the details of every command that is in that module. And it tells me I've got a function called getBIOS, and the source of that is sisinfo funcs. Enough defining it. Let's try using it. Since it's dynamically loaded and it's available to us, I can go ahead and just type get-BIOS. And you may have noticed that ISE already recognized that that command now exists and provided help for it. And the command does exist and does run. I can go ahead and use this command in as many other PowerShell processes as I wish now, because my module will automatically load as needed in any PowerShell process, as long as those module folders are available. Let's go ahead and add some more to our system info funcs. I'm going to add two new functions, one to get PC info and one to get operating system info. I'm going to save this. Now my system info funcs PSM1 file contains three functions. If I ask to list the available modules, and I take a look at what it found, I will see that it has automatically found my additional commands. If you are on an older version of PowerShell, that may not happen automatically, and you may have to use remove-module and your module name in order to get it to recognize that the module has changed. Now that we have all of these wonderful commands available to us, and we can go ahead and use them however we wish, let's do something interesting with it. Let's go ahead and create another file, which is a standard PowerShell script. And I'm going to put that in the folder where my GitHub repository is. And I'm going to call it sisinfo.ps1. Then let's go ahead and open that up in my ISE. As you can see, this is a very simple script. It prints out a header that says I'm going to show operating system info. Then it runs the get operating system info command, which it will get from my module. Then it prints a header for PC info and uses my module's get PC info. Then it prints out a header for BIOS and runs my module's get BIOS command. And if I go ahead and run this one, I should get a nice output. In fact, it found get BIOS, but it did not find the other commands. My version of PowerShell, despite showing that those modules included those functions, doesn't automatically import them. So I'm going to have to use that remove module I mentioned to take my module out of memory so that I can get it to reload my module. When loading a module for the first time after making changes, it's actually a good idea not to just start running commands, but to use the commandlet import module, because import module will test the file for basic syntax problems as it imports it and tell you if it has any problems. If there are no problems, there will be no output. The module is imported. And now when I run the script, all three commands have been found and will be found in any new PowerShell processes that start that have access to my modules folder. You can create as many modules as you want to perform as many functions as you want. Modules give you a lot of power to make PowerShell more capable.